Okay, I'm about to send the link everywhere, Ollie. Give me a moment.
No worries. Ew, UK, why have you done that? Sorry. So sorry. I need to remember I'm not on mute.
Viewers Lounge. I can send it to game updates, right? Yeah.
Yeah, send it to game updates and also Video Central.
And the jury for those who aren't here. And the pre-jury. So give me just one moment. Anyone who watches the stream now is seeing me talk as I send the link everywhere. Okay, I think I got, wait, JK, I got one more to send it to. Alrighty, there we go. I did not forget. Alrighty, so you are good to start whenever, Ollie.
Okay, perfect. I will be on camera at some point. My camera is deciding not to work, but welcome, Bruce, Chris, and Lauren, to your final tribal council. Tonight, you will all plead your case as to why you deserve the title of Sole Survivor. So, how tonight is going to work is you will each start with your opening statements, which will all be 7 minutes. You can have up to 7 minutes. From there, we will then turn to the jury, who will each have their time for questioning. I believe it's up to 10 minutes of questioning. From there, after all that's done, you will then have your closing statements. Now, how it will go is obviously, Bruce, as the winner of the final immunity challenge, you got to decide the order of how the opening statements would go. And we informed you that whatever you chose as the running order for the opening statements would be reversed and flipped for the closing. So can you just confirm the order for opening statements?
It'll go me, Lauren, Chris.
Okay, so it will go Bruce first, then Lauren, and then Chris. So I will now hand it over to Meg, who will be in charge of all the timing and all that lot.
All right, I'm going to just quickly, because we have a lot of people ask about this, I'm going to set a quick timer on Zoom, just to make sure the final three you guys can see it. This is not for anyone right now, but it shows up in the top right of your screen. I just started for 5 minutes. I just want to give me a thumbs up if the finalists, you can see the timer on your screen so that you can keep track of yourselves. Okay, I got 2. Can you see that, Lauren? Okay, good. So let me stop that timer. So then Bruce, you will begin. So I will start your 7 minutes whenever you begin talking, Bruce.
Good evening, everybody, especially the jury. First thing I want to say is thank you. Without literally each and every one of you, there's a 0% chance I'd be here right now. Secondly, I'd like to describe my game a little bit. So the way I describe it is smoldering. It's a slow burn, right? It was smoke leading up until maybe the big flames that came at the end. But that smoke had to build up a lot before that happened. You know, all 3 of us that are sitting here were on the OG Grimsay. So we all dealt with losing the first 3 immunity challenges and going to tribal and building those social relationships and how things happened. The game really picked up when we swapped. So we swap. I'm at a 5-3 disadvantage with the group that I have. And obviously, as most of you know now, I see somebody there that I think I can trust in Jonah. So I try to get Jonah to flip with us. I successfully do that. But when you have a 5-3 disadvantage and an exile twist and all those things, you're not going to be able to do it with just one person. So I went to the Safari. I found Nick. In the Safari, I found Nick. I tell Nick, hey, Jonah can't go and the 3 OG Grimsay can't go to give us a chance if we lose. We lose, Luke goes, and then us 4 all stayed. At this point, I'm thinking, man, I'm pulling strings and I'm doing a great job with my social game. Then that all came crumbling down as soon as we went to that tribal. When we went to that tribal, Sanan played an idol that I had no idea about. And that really quickly kind of woke me up that I wasn't privy to information that I should have been privy to. As we moved into the merge, it was very clear that all the information that I was getting was secondhand. I found out about Nick's idol from Chris. I found out about Sam's idol. I'm sorry, not Sam's idol. I found out about JJ's idol from Sam. I found out about Chris's power from Sam after it had been used. I found out about the fairy thing after it had happened, even though all those things were happening prior to that tribal council. So even though I was in on Sanam votes and making those things happen and building these relationships and everybody felt like I was a part of the team, it was clear that's not how you win Survivor. When JJ left, he made a comment. He said, use the tarot cards as a rubric on how to win this game. So from that point on, I made it a mission of mine to try to make sure that I was doing things and making moves to try to help me get to the point where I could win the game. That started at 10, and Jonah can attest for this. I tried to get the group to split votes, and I was going to flip, and I was going to vote out a player like Chris, who was the strongest player at that time. It didn't work out. I won the live challenge, which was a big, big thing for me. But at that point, Emily was too far gone. There was nothing I could do. I had to do the boring thing. But at 8 was really when the domino effect happened for me having a lot of control in the game. At 8, Nick gets voted out. And I think there's a common misconception that Chris and Sam made that decision and I was just brought along late. That is not the case. Prior to that challenge of that round, I spoke to Chris about doing that and I spoke to Sam about doing that. Not only that, I talked to Chris about cutting Sam and I talked to Sam about cutting Chris. It was very obvious in both of those conversations that was not a thing that was ever going to happen. So at that point, even though I'm working with the two of them, I can see the three of us, I might be the third wheel. I've got to make something happen. And the first way to do that is by getting Nick out of there to weaken them, because them as a 3 is really strong. And now I can be that third. So now Nick goes and now we're at 7. At 7, I had the ultimate power. 3 people were voting for Hannah. 3 people are voting for Sam. There's one person in the middle and it's me. Everybody thinks they have my vote. Everybody thinks that I'm going this way or that way. And for most of that day, I was going to vote out Hannah. Then 10 minutes before tribal happens, Chris tells Hannah that I'm going to vote Hannah. Hannah tells me this. And because of that, I know that Chris might not have my best interest in mind all the time. So the way that I can weaken Chris is by getting out Sam. So I vote out Sam. That benefited me at 6. At 6, now Luke and Hannah both trust me. They think that I'm going to vote with them. We wake up that morning. The 2 names that are out there are me and Chris. So what do? I fabricate a lie. I tell Hannah that Chris has been pushing her name. And now what do they want to do? They want to vote Chris. So when they want to vote Chris, they're trying to get me and Jonah on board. But I don't want Chris to go because now that Sam is gone, Chris is going to need me. So what do? I vote with Chris to vote out Hannah, who's also a big threat in the game. Again, now 2 votes in a row, I've had the ultimate power on who leaves. At 5, I reap those benefits. So at 5, there's 2 votes on Luke, 2 votes on me, and who's the swing vote? It's Chris. And I think because of the 2 votes that happened prior to that, Chris maybe felt like too loyal to a fault, whatever, that he felt like he needed me to stay in the game or wanted to stay loyal to me. So he votes to keep me. And then at 4, I now earned my way. I didn't need anybody to take me. I didn't need to campaign, none of that. I earned my way to the final 3. And in doing that, I did not go back on the person that had been most loyal to me the whole game, who was Jonah. And I voted for him to tie Lauren and compete with Lauren to try to get himself here, even though it didn't work out for him. But in all of that, in saying all of those different things that happened, when we talk about the slow burn, from the beginning of the game to the end of the game, it turned into a huge flame. And because of that, I think that I deserve to win this game. Everybody sitting here at some point voted in the minority. I never did that. The only time that I ever voted in the minority was on the revote of Nick and JJ. I voted for Nick to leave. And even still, my social game was strong enough to where Nick thought Jonah was the person that voted that. I was always in the know. I always knew what was happening. And then on top of that, I didn't see my name truly, strongly written down until the final 5. I only had 3 votes written down for me the whole game. And that is less than everybody sitting here. So when you look around and you see the jury, from the Sanam vote to the Eric vote to Nick to Sam to Hannah, all the way down to Luke, I had a hand and a help in all of them, and some of them more than others. So when you look around and you see the final 3 and you see the final jury, there is no one, in my opinion, that had more of a say in things that were happening, especially once we got to the 9, 8, 7, 6 mark, than me. So at that point, you think about outwit, outplay, outlast. I think that I did that better than anyone. I woke up every day. If my name was in somebody's mouth, I did everything that I could to get my name out of their mouth and get the name out there that I wanted to leave that was most beneficial for me. And by doing that, I've placed myself here. If Sam doesn't go at 7, I'm not sitting here. Chris and Lauren both take Sam over me. At the right time to make the proper moves, I made them, and it all worked out, and here I am. Thank you. Best of luck to the other two. I hope that you can see where I'm coming from.
Okay. Thank you, Bruce. That is your opening statement done. We are now going to move on to our next finalist, which is Lauren. So, Lauren, just wait for Megan and your time will begin.
Whenever you're ready, Lauren, and you start talking, I will start your timer.
Okay, awesome. It's kind of fun to go after Bruce because I had said the whole time I thought Bruce played a phenomenal game, and I believe that. I also feel like I played a phenomenal game, but it was very different than Bruce's, and my strategy was very different than Bruce's. And I think what I most want to be able to articulate is that my game was probably not quite as visible, but I played a very intentional game. I came in and I played a game that I wanted to, where I could be pretty authentic to myself and honest with people and really rely very heavily on my social game in a way that got me to the final 3. I think coming in, I had never played like a long-term org before. For any of you who heard, the only time I played a very like brief 3-hour org where Luke voted me out within the first hour. So this was a really new experience for me. I didn't know what to expect or anticipate. I was asking a ton of questions to people. And so I did feel like coming in, I was going to have to play a very social-based game because I was going to be at a disadvantage in a lot of the other ways. And so really early, I started establishing strong alliances. I started trying to figure out who I could trust, who I could play with. And even knowing that like the game is going to shift and change, I was able to very early establish relationships with people that built a lot of protection for myself throughout the rest of the game. So even in our second and third tribal councils on Grimsay, my name was thrown out by both of those people. And I had like half of the tribe kind of immediately jumping in and saying like, it's not going to be you, we're going to do somebody else. And was able to kind of turn that around where all of those votes, the only person who put my name down was the person who then ended up leaving the game at that point. So I was starting to establish that type of gameplay really early on. I think too, I really tried to be, present to people and really like have quality conversations, even though we're all very busy. I would say especially kudos to the people who live in like wild time zones. That's really hard. But you all know that I'm also pregnant and I was not willing to sacrifice sleep. And so I feel like the amount of time in which I was actually like responding to people was pretty limited. And so I tried to still build those relationships in a really quality way, even though my quantity was not large, which is why my name got brought up the first 2 times, because I was prioritizing the people that I felt like I could trust or connect with over some other people that maybe I didn't feel that was going to be as strong for me in the long term of the game. And then like Bruce said, at the swap, we were in the minority. There were 3 of us. I had these really strong alliances that I started to build. And then I was left with 2 people who Bruce had kind of just been like coming into that alliance, and then Sanam. And so it was, for me, like kind of a worst case-ish scenario in terms of who we landed on that tribe. And so I made a quick decision to continue to work with those people who I had at least started to build some trust with. Even though we were very much in the minority there. Yet at the same time, I did really also try to start to build things with the other folks on the tribe who could have easily picked us off and didn't. And I tried to make sure that like I was somebody who they could at least see working with down the line, so that if they were going to be picking off people from our tribe, it wasn't going to be me. And as names came up, mine was not often the case while I was starting to work in that way. And then after merge, I think this was a point at which I didn't have a great sense of what was happening on the other tribe until we got there, but was hopeful to reestablish those alliances with the people that I had begun things from in the beginning, even though we hadn't played together for a couple rounds, and was able to do that very effectively to gather up some additional alliances. I would say, and I'm sure there'll be a question come up, and I'll reference this more. I think a potentially risky but also really beneficial move for me was to also like build alliance with Luke, who in and out maybe struggled to like work with some of the other people that I was working with, but I think also really helped me build some protection for some of the tribal line voting that was happening, so that again, my name was not the one that was coming up whenever people were trying to vote other people out. I think in general, throughout this game, I displayed a lot of loyalty and trust in the ways that I like aligned my words with my actions. People are spreading a lot of things. They're saying this, saying that. And I really tried to make sure that people know that I was being authentic, and that there were certain pieces of information that they could trust me with, so that I had a sense of what was going on and ultimately was able to use my social relationships to keep myself very protected and get here to the final three. Um, so I think my summary is that I think my strengths in this game and the way that I played it were that I really established myself very early as somebody who could be loyal and also be trusted with information. And then in other cases where I hadn't built trust, that I could at least be seen as somebody who might be a potential ally. And so somebody who's worth keeping around in that way. I put myself in a very insulated position where once I got further along in the game, there were a lot of people who felt compelled to protect me, and to steer votes away from me whenever my name did come up. And so that also allowed me to kind of go deeper in this game. And I feel like I played a game where I did really forge a clear path for myself. Even as some of my alliance members were going, I was able to see my way to the finals with the relationships that I had built, and being able to get myself to that point. Though also
For someone that's you in.
What's that?
Keep going, keep going.
To forge a clear path forward and kind of move flexibly when I needed to, when I could kind of gauge whether or not a vote was going to be beneficial for me, and whether maintaining relationships was really the way that I needed to get through one of those votes. So I think, my game was subtle, but I do think that it was strong, and it helped me to move forward to this point with safety and without much of a target on my back along the way. Thanks. And it's going to be really exciting to see everybody's faces when they come back on too.
Okay, thank you, Lauren. That is your opening statement done. We are now going to finish off with our final finalist, Chris. So, Chris, I'll pass it over to Megan.
I will start your timer when you begin talking, Chris.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank y'all, everyone. This has been such a fun season. Hot girl privileges all around, just to let everybody know. But Triumph was very meaningful to me. And the reason why it was so meaningful to me was because I kept this secret as a secret, but I originally helped Ali and Megan start this way long ago. So after taking a break from orgs for about 2 years, wanting to come back into orgs, Triumph was the main one that I wanted to make it happen. So I'm very happy that the timing worked out perfectly. And then now being here in a final tribal council setting, pleading my case, it feels very full circle. Also, like somebody that has a very good rapport in org too, has been in a lot of different orgs as well as viewers lounges and just being a positive face in the org community. I unfortunately came into here using that as my gameplay. So as a very popular social player throughout orgs, I did the same exact thing coming into this game. And mind you, when the game initially started on April 4th, the day after my 29th birthday, I started playing this after all the cast was released. I was very fortunate enough to have some pre-existing connections before going into the game, i.e. JJ and Sam on my original starting tribe, as well as Sanam also. And using those pre-existing relationships into this new game setting did help me very much. I provided and also chose loyalty with those 3 players at the start of the game, and then not knowing who Nick or Warren were at all, wanting to engage in conversation with them, talking to them about personal gameplay and all of that stuff, personal stuff happening. We developed really good bonds as well. So I pride myself at the very start of the game being very well rounded socially, and also when it came to the times of having tribal councils very early, distinguishing votes based off of who would be best for everybody. It helped my case out the very first tribal when Danny said he wanted V to go over JJ, and I had to hide the fact that I didn't know who JJ was 3 years prior, 5 years prior to this, but I kept that well-rounded fact hidden because JJ was somebody that I was really close to prior to this game. And also on the top of the fact that I was doing very well bonds with Lauren, and and it was between her and Danny. Got Danny out to keep Warren with me as well. And then the Exile Island twist came into play where I also didn't really want RC to go, but I was very happy to not be a part of that vote, given the fact that I do like having my people wanting to like everybody else in the game, which is one of the reasons why I hate playing games like this, because I want my people to work with each other very well. And case in point, coming into Tribe Swap, we tried to make that happen. It didn't really work out so well. I formed really close alliances with Sam and Nick, as well as JJ trying to form bonds once swap happened, having close bonds with Emily. I knew who Emily was prior to this game too. We played a low budget game forever ago, but we still came in contact with each other throughout orgs also. I didn't even know who Scott was before going into the game. So unfortunately, having a lot of pre-existing connections did better me in this game, and I did use that to better me throughout. Around this time, I did find the Kaladesh Stones advantage. And what that advantage was you can remove an Exile Island decision, or you can remove an idle play or an advantage play. And I only told two people that, my two people being Sam and Nick. And I did tell JJ about that later and down the line, but it was a very unfortunate high mistake of mine. But yeah, got to be a little elevated to do well as an HGC thing. Y'all know this. And Swap Tribe worked out very well for me. I only had to go to tribal councils twice, but with the names that were being mentioned in Patrice and Trent, there are obvious reasons to get rid of both of them. One of my key failures, I will say, in the game is having the votes to vote out Scott over Patrice would have been a better gameplay move for me. But in order to please other people in this game, I did sacrifice Patrice, even having Patrice would have been a little more fun. No offense to you, Scott, just to say it would have been a little more fun. But merge happened, and I did pride myself on wanting to not consistently play on OG tribal lines still. With the Eric vote, it just helped fuel my case that it was between Eric and Luke. And unfortunately, even though I knew who Eric was prior going into this game as well, we didn't really connect socially inside the game. So it did, and versus Luke, who I also knew prior going into this also. So, but I did form more close bonds with Luke over Eric, which is why Eric's vote out did not have anything to do with him being on OG Vodder versus Grim at all for me. But top 12 happened, and top 12 was very rough. Sanam getting voted out was partially due to me as well as other people, but I can't take full responsibility for that because you need more players in the game to make sure that you have your votes going your way. But to counteract that, if it wasn't Sanam, it would have been me. So then I had to play a little bit of hardball, which is why I did not want to go based off of OG tribal lines essentially, but because of that particular vote, I did have to go more strategic on that aspect. Next, we go into the next tribal where I was not a good tribal for me. Lots of things transpired throughout that, but I did feel as though to better my game personally for my own game, because at the end of the day in Survivor, you can only have one person that got your back, and that person is yourself. And even though I did have to pride myself on showing information and giving information to other people, and also priding myself on other people relaying information to me, which is also confirms the fact that I was very well insulated socially with a lot of players in this game. I did play my advantage to keep my close ally Sam here, and then we all had to do a revote. Prior to popular belief, I did let everybody know that I did send somebody like JJ home. However, I did voted Hannah individually because I did not know who the votes were going to be in between Hannah. That was a vain lie that I had to tell you, so I do apologize for that. But be that as it may, after the vote tied between JJ and Nick, I did have to make an ultimate sacrifice. And as somebody that doesn't like to prioritize pre-existing connections to better him, I did sacrifice JJ in that sense. Only for the simple fact of that of being that JJ was somebody who I knew prior going into this. We weren't doing well socially, but I'm over for your questions and all of that stuff. I'll go into more details about games too.
All
But
right. That's it, Chris. Thank you.
Okay, that is all of the speeches done. Congratulations, finalists. You have started off this final tribal council very strong. We are now going to move over to the jury. Now, just a reminder, jury, each of you have 10 minutes to ask whatever you need to the lovely finalists here. Obviously, if you don't use all of your 10 minutes, we will bank it. So if someone needs a little bit extra down the line, more than happy to. So we are going to get started with the first juror. So I would like to welcome Eric.
Hi. First off, I've never heard that Zoom time thing. Anyway, good. Y'all got your drinks? Good. You're gonna need them tonight. Just no. Before anything else, before I give you anything, I want all three of you to turn around. We're gonna play a game of raise your hand, and I don't want you seeing all three of you. If you're able to turn around as you're able. All right. I'm gonna ask you a question. If you agree with this question, you raise your hand. All right. We just want to see where what we're thinking right now. Raise your hand if you think you're getting Jonah's vote tonight. Raise your hand if you think that you are getting Luke's vote tonight. Raise your hand if you think you're getting Hannah's vote tonight. Raise your hand if you think you are getting Sam's vote tonight. Nick's vote. Scott's vote. Emily's vote. JJ's vote. Sanam's vote. And last but not least, my vote. All right. Go ahead and turn around. All right. I'm not going to reveal how it is. Maybe the other jurors will. We'll find out. First off, congratulations to all three of you. I just want to lay out a few things for all of you. I believe that whoever wins this game deserves the win, and you deserve my congratulations, whether or not I vote for you or not. I think all three of you did what you needed to do to get to the end, which is great. Secondly, while there are clear significant holes in all three of your games, and we've discussed those at length, that doesn't mean we don't respect you as people. Anything said tonight about your game is just your game. And whatever is said tonight, it is not a rejection of you as a person. It's been spicy at times, but we do love you as people. Your gameplay, on the other hand, hi. No. As the first juror to speak tonight, I do have a question for each of you. My goal is not to roast any of you, but these questions, they're meant to be firm and fair. Because if you're wondering if somebody might not be voting for you, this is your first opportunity to address those particular concerns. So it's not just for me, but anyone who might be on the fence. Chris, I'll start with you. There's no denying that you played, pardon me, I'm reading too, because there's a lot. There's no denying that you played an incredible social game. But from our perspective, your strategic game didn't always match. When you flipped on people, it hit harder because those bonds felt genuine. For example, you told some of the players at Final Three, at some point during the game, that you wanted Bruce to not reach the Final Three. But when you had the chance to do it at Final Five, you didn't. So that's a bit of a disconnect. One thing I value as a juror is ownership of the highs and lows and blemishes of your game. Is there a moment in the game that you genuinely wish you had back? A decision or an interaction you'd approach differently if given the chance? And more importantly, how did you recover from it and still make it here to the end?
to speak on the first part of the question in regards to why I kept Bruce over Luke, keeping Bruce over Luke was more so a not last minute decision, but a decision that I already had set up in my mind as a 60-40 going into that tribal council. However, I only had to finalize it why it took a very long time on trying to figure out who I was voting between Bruce and Luke. Realistically, I did keep Bruce over Luke, and it wasn't just the simple fact of Bruce, I do think, played a more stronger game than Luke. I do think that Bruce did play a more stronger game and more well-rounded game than Luke. However, I did keep Bruce here only for the simple fact that if I did not keep Bruce here, I would be seeing all of you in the jury. I knew for a fact that Luke was still actively pushing me at top 5. And if Bruce left at 5, he would have still actively pushed me at 4. And I knew that I couldn't risk that in order for me to actively being sitting here pleading my case. So realistically, going into final tribal council on that, it was a 60-40 to have Bruce stay over Luke, but my decision wasn't finalized until actively seeing pen to paper and seeing like, oh, how do I get to make sure that I'm pleading my case to all of you? That was that same reason. Thank you for that question. Part 2 of that question is very near and dear because I do think that one of my problems in social strategic games is relying heavily on my social capita, which obviously, as anybody can attest, was really good social capita, but my strategics didn't back up. I can also answer that question in the sense of JJ going that round. Yeah, I did unfortunately have to send one of my pre-existing connections home to keep somebody who I just met over Nick, but JJ's game and my game at that point in time wasn't aligning. He still would have been close to Emily, who actively voted me out the tribal before, who I knew wasn't going to be in my best interest. So I had to sacrifice JJ in order to keep somebody like Nick in, who also Nick was still being actively loyal to me in that point in time in the game. Also, top 7, where I did not have service at all, and I lose somebody who was also really close to me. I did not have service at all at that tribal council. Anybody that was left in the game can attest, which is why I didn't actively participate in that tribal. But Bruce said he made a good decision on voting Sam out to better me, which is a good thing, but also he didn't really have that much case in the fact of better because, he made his decision about 10, 15 minutes before tribal council. However, if I was a live tribal council, maybe, hopefully, the decision could have been different. But with Sam going and JJ going, I lost really close people to me and had to still rely on my social connections as well as maneuver strategically throughout the game. And that's my answer. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you. Lauren, the jury, you've earned respect from people just as your personality as a wonderful person as well. And for your first long form game to avoid danger until the very end, that was pretty awesome. However, there's also a strong perception that you are Grimsay loyal to the bone. I want you to give me one moment in the game where you made the active decision to change the outcome and explain why that move is yours.
I would say that the decision that I made was a little bit more pervasive than like a vote, but coming into the merge and making a decision to build and keep trust with Luke, who was outside of my original alliance. And while we're looking at tribal lines was kind of on the other side, I think that was something that really helped me throughout my post-merge game because I had somebody who had a little bit more connection with people that I didn't, who was kind of helping to make sure that my name wasn't out there. And it was also a riskier move for me because Luke was, for what I don't know if it was actually anything that he did or if it was rumors, was like not working well with some of my other really close alliances, Bruce and Chris. And so I also felt like I needed to protect Luke in the process to keep him around so that I had somebody outside of my original alliance, but that I could trust and play the game with. And I think like in losing Nick and Sam, who were also part of my votes, I had Luke with me, whereas there were some other people who got further in the game who didn't. And so while that was not like a one point in time decision, I think it was a decision that I made at merge that really played out well for me throughout the rest of that time.
Thank you. Bruce, while it's clear to us that you've evolved during the merge phase, there was consistent frustration with how you handled exits. I feel like some people were left in the dark, some were dismissed, sometimes celebrated. In my case, I felt like you left me at the altar a little bit. And for many of us, especially in Vattersay, it felt like our alliances were more transactional rather than mutual. So my question is, why did you believe that approach, rooted in control rather than connection, would earn you the win?
Well, to be honest with you, I can't apologize for it. It's just kind of how I play the game. I do think that the connections that I made and some of the conversations that I had were genuine. But at the end of the day, I'm a competitor in my life and in general. So a lot of times when I'm thinking up moves or deciding way things can go. When it's going to be somebody's turn to leave, at that point, I know that they're trying to leave, so everything in my power is trying to get them to leave. So like when you think about things that happen within the game, you know, I can understand totally why people would feel that way about our transactional relationship when they exited. But I can't apologize for the way that it happened. You know, I'm doing my best to try to make it further, to make it to where I'm not that person. And I am not somebody who's super active in the org community. So I don't have a lot of these connections, right? So like, it's hard for me to build those connections in a span of 2 weeks. And then like somebody with like you, right? Like your eviction was, or I'm sorry, your vote out was so early at the beginning that like, I was just trying to do everything I can to survive at that point, and then looking for my opportunity to do that. And I do admit, as it came down, they became more transactional. It became more of a cutthroat thing to get to the end. And I understand that that can be a little bit tough, but you know, it's who I am and how I played the game.
Well, hopefully you did not airball it in the game. Decided to do a basketball sports analogy. We've been doing that like crazy. And with that, that is the coolest timer, by the way. I just want to say that I've never heard that before, and I thought I'm stealing it from now on. So, anyways, Chris, Lauren, Bruce, I'll be watching, I'll be listening, and the person who I feel has owned their game the most will be the one to get my votes. Best of luck.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Okay, we are now going to move on to your second juror for questioning. Please welcome the lovely Sanam.
Surprise, literally no one, like every call in the game, my car. So I'm gonna be off of camera for this, but I have one question and maybe follow-ups for each of you. Please take like a minute or two to answer it. Why should I specifically vote for you? We're gonna start with Lauren.
This is a good question and kind of a hard one. Hard because I don't know how jurors want to vote in terms of like what type of gameplay they respect. And I will be honest with you, Sanam, I loved working with you at all the stages, like pre-swap, during swap. And at the same time, I was pretty scared of you. Like I thought you were a good player, and even though you were building a lot of trust, like knowing that you had an idol that you played, that we were not aware of was something that scared me. I felt like you were somebody that at any point could be building a lot of power that I didn't know about. And even so, I feel like I was able to build enough trust with you to help us both move forward in the game to the point that we did. I think you are somebody who also played a really loyal game and a little bit less like excuse me, lying in strategy. And so my hope is that that's something that you can kind of recognize in the way that I played the game and feel like you have some respect for.
Let's go to Bruce.
The reason I think you specifically should vote for me is because I think you're a great player, and I think that was evident when I found out that you had an idol that I had no idea about, and basically shocked the hell out of me because I thought I was doing these great things, and meanwhile you're just got this in your back pocket. And then the second thing is coming into the merge, like you were somebody that was super socially capital across the board, and that directly affected me with the Jonah relationship with me. You know, from multiple people, I've heard that you were the person that was kind of pushing that Jonah and I were a duo, which was the first major piece of information that came out at the merge. And so it became very clear to me very early that like someone like you, who we did have a working relationship, it wasn't top of the line working relationship, probably needed to go at some point. And so, you know, when that opportunity came up, that is kind of the opportunity that I tried to take to get you out. So the only reason that I think you should vote for me, Sanam, is a game player respecting another game player, and that's my answer.
Chris?
Sanam. To piggyback a little bit off of Bruce's answer, from game player respecting game player, then you'll understand and know that I played honest and loyal to a fall game, especially with you. Sanam, your relationship with me was one that if any other setting would have been like, hell yeah, got to get these two out of here. But unfortunately, I enjoyed every conversation that I had with you. None of it was fake at all. However, from one game player to another, then is also very priding themselves off of a good social capital, then you know that I had to do what I had to do to better me over you. And realistically, your vote out was very hard for me, but also it didn't know that I was going to be the counter name for it. But I did use all of my social avenues to better myself. And on top of being strategic in some aspects, then you know that you vote based off of who plays the most well-rounded game. And I think that I am deserving of your vote as most well-rounded game player tonight. Thank you for your question.
My next question for each of you is, why did you choose to create a situation in which these are the other two people you're sitting with? And we're going to start with Bruce.
Yeah, so the reason that these are the two people that I'm sitting with are because, yes, there was the pre-built relationship prior to the swap that, you know, I did build a good relationship with these two people. But then as I gained more information as the merge came down, it was clear that Sam was a really strong player that was involved with Chris. Nick was a really strong player that was involved with Nick, and both are with Chris, and they were both involved with Lauren as well. So I kind of sat back as much as I could. And then when I was able to start making some moves, so to speak, to try to get people here, I felt like having Lauren there, you know, we were pretty loyal to each other. And I always knew, honestly, like, if I did something that maybe I said something differently to Lauren than I actually did at Tribal, I might be able to repair that relationship because of the relationship that we had prior. And then when it came down to Chris, after Sam and Nick left, I knew that Chris's chance to get to the end really heavily kind of relied on me being here, like he spoke about. If I'm gone, everybody's going to want Chris out. And same thing, vice versa. If Chris is gone, then a lot of people are probably going to want me out. So while Chris is a good player, just like the other two of us, and these two people being here might be tough for me to win the game, I felt like my best avenue to get to the final three, because you got to get to the final three to have a chance to win, was with these two people.
Okay, I'm going to save me 30 seconds at the end. Lauren, please go next.
Okay, I'll try to be fast. I didn't reveal this in a very specific way until the final four were there, but Chris was in my top three since almost the beginning of the game, and continued to be a relationship that, like, I think we worked really well together and served us well to get here. And so that was done with a lot of intentionality from almost the first vote. Bruce was not necessarily in my top three, but probably like my top five. And I think because Bruce played such a different game than me, depending on the ways that the jury votes and the things that they respect, I tried to get him out at 4 or at 5, and that was not happening. And that was just because I really respected the game, and I was able to be honest with him and even tell him that before the vote. So I think, again, Chris done very intentionally. Bruce did a lot to get himself here, but I think was really helpful for my game, at least up until the top 5.
Last but not least.
Thank you. So, like Lauren said, I was very socially with her at the start of the season, and I used that. I have not met Lauren at all throughout this game, so I used my social capital to benefit me while she was still being here. So after Sam got voted out, realistically, my final 3 plans were probably me, Sam, and Lauren, my hot girls for life. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. But after Sam got voted out, I did feel as though I had to play a little bit of catch up. So I had really good rapport with Bruce throughout the whole time when we merged, even when we swapped together. We were piggybacking, bouncing ideas off of each other, and we had very great calls, and none of it was fake. However, when Sam got voted out, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was a little bit bitter, and I wanted to be a little bit hot girl in me, and I did want to, extract my revenge, so to speak. But again, when it comes to the top 5 scenario as well as the top 4 scenario, I kept Bruce in over Luke, given the simple fact that I would not have been in the top 3 if I kept Luke over Bruce. I truly, honestly do believe that. And also, to piggyback off of the vote between Lauren and Jonah, Jonah was somebody who I also knew prior going into this. And we've been friends off and on for a while. And I did not want to base my final game decisions off of pre-existing connections, as well as I do think Jonah played a more stronger game than Warren. No offense to you, Warren, but I do think that the reason why both Warren and Bruce are here is because of me, as well as I do think that I would not be here because of them. And I think that I do am more deserving of both of them. But yes, thankful off of both of Bruce and Warren. But if I had it my way, it wouldn't have been Bruce here. But yeah. Thank you, Sanam.
All right, I wanted to save some time so I could say, regardless of the outcome of this, you're all dope. Come visit me in Seattle. I'm really proud of you guys. I'm glad to have met you guys. And don't listen to what we said in the jury chat. Love you.
Okay, thank you, Sanam. We are going to move straight on to juror number 3. So let us welcome JJ. JJ, I don't know if we can hear you.
Can you guys hear me at all?
Yep, can hear you.
Are we good? Okay. So, I have to ask the same question every jury that I'm a part of, and I want quick one-word answers, nothing else. I want you guys to help me make a kill list. If any one person was solely responsible for each juror's downfall, I want to know who it is, no explanation. It cannot be themselves, but it can be anybody on the jury, and it can also be any of the 3 of you. So, for Eric's downfall, Bruce, who is responsible for that solely?
Grimsay.
One person.
Okay. Chris.
Okay, Chris?
Sam.
Lauren, one person.
Sanam.
Okay. For Sanam's downfall, Bruce, who is responsible for that?
Remind me of the rules. Can you say your own name?
Yes.
Bruce.
Me.
Bruce.
Downfall, Bruce.
Chris.
Also me.
Yes. Lauren.
Emily, because I think she played that advantage. And if it wasn't Emily that played the advantage, whoever did.
Scott's downfall, Bruce.
Emily.
Emily as well.
Emily.
His downfall, Bruce.
Sam.
Can agree.
Sam.
Downfall, Bruce.
Who is this one again? Sorry, you cut out. It's Sam, right?
Nick.
Nick. Oh, Bruce.
Sam.
That one I meant to say Sam for. I
Okay.
did the wrong one last time. Sam.
Bruce, what did you say?
Nothing.
Yes.
Me.
Who did you say?
Oh, I said Sam.
Oh. Yeah.
Sam's downfall, Bruce.
Bruce.
Jonah.
Bruce.
Hannah's downfall, Bruce.
Bruce.
Chris,
Also say Jonah here.
Lauren,
Jonah.
okay? Luke's downfall. Bruce,
Chris.
Me,
Chris,
me,
Lauren,
Chris.
Jonah's downfall. Bruce,
Lauren.
me.
Me.
why he feels like he was the sole responsible for Sanam.
Say that again.
Chris, to defend his position, why he was solely responsible for Sanam. We're going to go minorities defend their position.
So I initially pushed Sanam's name. I did that on the phone with Bruce at around 12:30, 1 o'clock. Not on the phone, but messages that day of the tribal. And the reason why I pushed Sanam's name was because of the whole common misconception of the OG Tribal Wines thing. Well, if the OG Tribal Wines thing wasn't a narrative in the season, then okay, well let's counteract that by voting out of Grimsay. And looking and surveying at everybody of the Grimsay tribe who was left, I owed it to JJ that I was so loyal to JJ in that round. I was still loyal to Sam and Nick in that round, and also with Lauren and Bruce coming back, so loyal to them. Not saying that I was not loyal to Sanam, because I was, but I felt that I did have to play, unfortunately, Catalyst there.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I want to speed things up just a little bit. Let's do like 1 sentence or 2 sentence responses because I have follow-up questions for each of you.
Sure. Sorry about that.
I want Lauren, why do you think Emily was solely responsible for me?
If I'm remembering correctly with the advantage, I think that was a really big, that advantage at that time was a big play. And I think she protected somebody else that put you in danger.
So I want you to defend the position that you were solely responsible for Nick's vote out.
So I think that I had a big piece of Nick's vote out because I think Chris and Sam were both really close to Nick, but I think that they both saw him as a threat. So I kind of used that to my advantage to try to get them closer to me to then get Nick's name pushed because of what had happened at the previous tribals and his game kind of being open to everybody else. So I think that that's why.
Just defend your position that Jonah was responsible for Sam.
Jonah was the first person to throw out Sam's name all day that day. And he did that at around 12:30, 1 o'clock. And he was the first person to tell me that he was voting for Sam that round. So that's why.
Okay. So I want you to defend the position that you were solely responsible for Hannah.
It's me, right? You said me?
Yep.
Yeah, going into that vote, while it was me and Jonah were kind of deciding who was going to leave between Chris and Hannah, I think me voting Sam out that round, the previous round, built the trust with Hannah and Luke, so they felt comfortable with me voting with them. And then I think my vote brought Jonah along to vote Hannah out, so that was the person that voted out Hannah.
Bruce, why do you think you were solely responsible for Luke?
That was me, right?
No, Bruce.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't say I said Chris. I don't think I was responsible
never
for
mind.
Luke.
And why do you think you were solely responsible for Jonah's vote? Why do you think you were solely responsible for Jonah's vote? Chris, why do you think that was you?
I didn't want to play based off of pre-existing connections, and I truly feel as though Jonah had a better shot than Lauren. and I made a promise to Lauren.
Okay. And then I would like to ask you guys all a quick question about what I feel were missed opportunities. Lauren, I feel like you probably had the biggest missed opportunity in the game at Final 7. And I want to know, with the concept of loyalty in mind, why you weren't able to take the resources that you had at your disposal to make a move to better your position at the Final 7, specifically voting out Jonah. I feel like you would have had 4 votes easily to do that, and it still would have been loyal to your original alliance.
I am going to be honest that I do not remember who else was up for vote at the Final 7. And that was one that I was left out of, that Sam went home. So I don't have a great answer for that one because I don't remember who else was on the chopping block.
To take a moment, your comments about loyalty in the final tribal council. I feel like somebody who is loyal to everybody is loyal to nobody. And I want to discuss the opportunity of creating a real loyalty to 1 or 2 particular people and why you didn't do that.
I didn't do that because I knew that
We have 45 seconds of pool time, so I'm gonna put a timer of 45 seconds on, and that's all you got.
that was directed towards me, right?
Yes.
Okay, just to make sure. So it's a very hard question, but yes. Coming into the game, I had knew of a lot of you, and unfortunately for me, that was one of my biggest downfalls going into a new game setting, knowing all types of people when you play with them or have heard of them previously. So trying to navigate as well as go forth throughout the game, based off of all pre-existing connections, hoping and praying to God that you'll still be friends with them after the game is over. It's very, very difficult for me in order for me to do that. So I'll be completely, totally honest that I was loyal to a fault with everybody. However, having to make sure that it was my own ass to sitting in these chairs at the end of the day.
All right, that is it.
Okay, thank you so much, JJ. You can go back off camera. Okay, we are going to head to our next juror. So let's say hi to Emily.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Congratulations to all of you. Scott's not here tonight. That's why I'm next, I guess. Bruce, I'm sure you're so excited to actually take a break after this since you left so many people on red. That'll be fun. You all played good games, Lauren. I can't shit on your game because you were authentic to yourself. So if I were to do that, it'd be attack on you, and I don't want to do that. Chris, I am wondering, you are at Carly's house right now, right? Are you?
No. So I'm not at Carly's house right now. I'm at an Airbnb, but like Carly, Billy, they're all in the same area. Yes.
Okay. So I guess I'm just wondering right now because like, are you in a room where you have to stay quiet or is your mic not working? Because I feel like when you present yourself during this whole game, like I'm not getting the hot girl Chris in these answers. Like you really girl boss the shit in this game, and I need you to just like stand on business with some of these answers.
I plan to. The wine's about to kick in. I'm just nervous, but
I know. Yeah. Okay. Because like,
but yeah.
You played a good game.
But
I just like. Can I finish? Sorry, guys. I'm like, I'm a little frustrated because I just like fought with Prod for a sec. So yeah, I think what I'd like to see you in the future, Chris, is just like with these answers is if you're a hot girl, Chris, I need you to stand on business with these answers. And just be more confident. Like I know what it's like to be nervous. I'm excited to see Lauren to see if there's like anything else like in like I need some grit, like something gritty. Bruce, I think like yeah, I think you also played a good game, but like obviously there's a lot of emotions around how you went upon it. For me, I'd hate to say it, but with like to be corny to bring up the tarot cards, but it's nice to be right. And I'm gonna leave as much time as I can here for you guys to answer more because I have somewhere to go. But my question is, for who here is the most confident that they could answer who left in order in 20 seconds? Okay. So Chris put his hand up first. I'm gonna let him answer. Sorry, Bruce. But
in order from when?
from when they left. Like from first to now.
Okay, so like boot order?
Yes. So I'm going to start my timer. Sorry, it's not more exciting, guys, but I was told I couldn't do something. So I had to
You're
think
good.
on the spot. And start in
Great.
3, 2, 1, go.
V, Danny, Coach, Double Tribal was Cake, and then who got voted out right after Cake? Fuck. Coach was Coach Cake. Then we swapped it 16th. Jennifer, Patrice, Trent, Eric, Sanam, JJ, Scott, you, Nick, Sam, Hannah, Luke, Jonah. Then here we are.
Okay. I wish my question was more fun. I'm going to leave more time for you guys to have at the end. I have to go somewhere. But good job, everyone. Pumped. Bye.
Thank you
Thank you,
so
Emily.
much, Emily. Okay, we are going to move on to our fifth juror, who is not here, but he has prepared a little speech. So in the place of Scott, I am going to ask Alex to come off mute.
Well, hello, Final Three. I am your, what's the word? I'm your poor man, Scott, this evening. I'll be reading a statement that he prepared for tonight. So give me just 2 seconds. All right. Real quick, before I start reading this, can everyone hear me okay? I'm on headphones in a car in Ohio, which is not even the state I live in. So we're having fun today. All right. Right? All right. So hello, Final Three. First, I wanted to say congratulations on making it here. It's been a wild ride of a season, so you should be very proud to make it here. I, for one, am looking forward to seeing which of you takes the crown, as well as getting to see who has the best jury management. All jokes aside, I don't have any questions, but I did want to say something to each of you. Lauren, you and I didn't get that much time to talk to each other, but I really did enjoy the little time I did get to know you. You were probably one of the realest players in this game. You never strung me along. You were always up front, and on the day I was eliminated, you didn't blow smoke up my booty. And for that, I want to say thank you. You truly are as sweet as pie. Bruce, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't hurt by you in this game. I know that we weren't necessarily on the same side, but I wanted to work with you so badly. I really thought that even though we weren't voting together, that we'd always have each other's back. That was silly of me to think, I guess, but I'm not going to fault you for playing your game. I'll leave you with this though. When I said countless times to you that I never write your name down in this game, I meant it. I try very much to be a man of my word. Regardless, congratulations on your game. Last but not least, Chris. I think it would be an understatement to say that we didn't see eye to eye. You and I were never going to get on the same page, it seemed. I do, however, want to give you your kudos for playing a great game. The one thing that doesn't sit well with me is that when I voted for you at Tribal Council, you went on this big rant about how you wouldn't do the same to me. Now I have since found out, that's how it's written, leave me alone, that it is not the case at all. I just don't appreciate you saying you wouldn't have done the same when you actively tried to do the same to me earlier in the season. But that's the game. We all play it, and we all lie while playing it. Regardless, congrats for making it here. That is Scott's statement. And with that, I will pass it back to Ollie.
Thank you so much, poor man Scott. We are now going to move on to someone that is actually being themselves. We have got Nick. And that wasn't shade to Scott. That was actually just because it was Alex speaking.
Well. If it isn't the final three. Come on, get close to the camera. Let me have a good look here. You all smell fucking nervous. Anyway, no, I'm not gonna be bitter. Obviously, housekeeping out of the way. You guys played an amazing game. You all did great. I love you. Blah 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 blah. But there is one bit of bone that I want to get out of my body, and it's towards you, Chris. Chris,
Give
one
it to
thing
me,
I just
Pop.
want to say,
Give it to
and
me.
you did say to my mum, my own mother, that you will never vote me out.
You're right. I did.
I don't want any sort of answer for that, but I want to do a fun thing.
Thanks.
So I have a few statements prepared. All I want you to do, very similar to Eric's question, is raise your hand if you believe it is true, and then lower your hand if you believe it is false. I also want you guys to close your eyes for this as well. So I've got 3 general statements, one statement about each of you that I want all of you to answer, and then a statement about moi, of course, because I'm self-absorbed. So everyone close their eyes. Statement number 1. Pre-game connections had a big impact this season. All right. Statement number 2, sorry. This is the final 3 so you guys, wanted. Of course, perfect. So statement number 3, the jury is bitter. All righty. Thank you for the general. Let's get to some individual questions, shall we? Starting with Bruce. So Bruce's statement. Bruce's most important relationship in this game was Jonah. Thank you. Lauren's statement. Lauren is a goat and was dragged to the end. Perfect. Now, Chris's statement. Emily's tarot cards are right, and Chris had a high chance on winning this season with what you have heard so far. Perfect. Now, my statement. Nick is a messy player. Okay, you can open your eyes. All right. So hope you guys had a little bit of fun there, but I want to sort of expand on all of that. So let's start off with statement number 1. You all said true. As someone who didn't have any pre-game connections in this, obviously it kind of hurts. But I want to start off by Chris. Obviously, you have said throughout this whole thing that you had a lot of pre-game connections and everything. I want you to kind of elaborate and explain a time where pre-game connections didn't have a big impact for you.
Of course. So I do like to pride myself on having a pre-existing connection to go forward throughout the game. However, using my social capital to develop new relationships, i.e., you and Lauren were 2 people that I have not heard of at all throughout this game. However, I used my social capabilities to make sure that I was still in like good graces with you guys. Unfortunately, I can't say that there are like actual certain times where I didn't realistically like pride myself on not using some sort of pre-existing connection to better me. However, I did try to pride myself on being more open and fluid when it came to communications. For instance, Hannah. I had never known of Hannah before throughout this game at all whatsoever, but Hannah's somebody that I want to get high with and sing Alanis Morissette with. And I hope that we get a chance to do that when I go to Georgia. But yes, but also with the conversations that I have had with everybody, none of it was disingenuous. All of it was true. But also, I did have to play a game in the end of the sense. So the comment that really stuck with me with you was the fact that I did say to your mother that I would never vote you out. Unfortunately, I did have to go back on my word, and I do apologize for that. However, to counteract that, I have gotten told multiple times that you were actively throwing my name out. So again, in a game like Survivor, you have to go based off of your own back at the end of the day. So I did what was necessary for me. I can't sit here and honestly say that I didn't prioritize my pre-existing connections to better me, but I did what I had to do in a game like this.
Coolio. Thank you. Let's go with statement number 2, and I want Lauren to answer this question. You all answered false for saying that this is the final 3 you guys wanted. I wanted to know who was your final 3 starting with merge.
In fashion with my beginning game, my final 3 had kind of remained the same since the beginning. It would have been Chris, myself, and Sam.
Cool. Thank you. Let's go with Bruce, and I'm gonna skip statement number 3 because that wasn't juicy enough. And I want to explain, obviously, yours and Jordan's connection. You said multiple times throughout this whole thing that Jordan and you weren't close, and it's all this, blah, 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 blah. But I remember a statement at, I want to say final 4, sorry, where you were saying something along the lines of you knew Jordan beforehand and you were a final 4, final 5 sort of deal. Can you just explain another connection you also had that you feel like was really important to you?
That's not Jonah.
That's not Jonah.
Right. Yeah. And it doesn't need to be pre-game, right? Like just within the game.
Within the game.
Yeah, I think Sam, the connection that I had with Sam was strong. Now, obviously, as more information has come out after her vote out and everything, it was like obvious that maybe she had closer connections in other places. But I do think Sam saw me as someone that, she could keep around. So like there was never really a time where I felt super nervous because Sam was so connected and she was always telling me the information that she was hearing. So I would say that one was a connection that I felt like helped me further in the game until the connection had kind of run its course. And then on top of that, Sam and I's connection was good, like with the, just being people or whatever, both being baseball fans or whatever else like that. So it would probably be Sam.
Cool. And I want everyone to answer this one because I find this so funny. The last question where it says, I'm messy. I'm going to start off with Lauren, and then I'll go to Bruce and then go to Chris on why you believe I was messy, because I'm very interested.
I just want to first start by saying, Nick, when you left, I told everybody, thank you for leaving me out of that vote because I would not have had it in my heart to vote you out before your birthday. However, and then it wasn't really, I think, until after you got voted out that I started to hear some things about how you were making a lot of like final 3 promises with a lot of different people. And that was something I was intentionally trying not to do myself, is make promises that I may or may not be able to keep. And so when I heard that that was happening with a lot of people, I was like, damn, I thought I was special. So that felt a little messy to me.
Chris?
I would say just because, and what's funny is like I didn't even realize that you were messy until that big, long, hour and a half long tribal, which kind of speaks to your game plays. I think that, you were just so good at building relationships with everybody. And just to kind of piggyback off what Lauren said, like everybody felt like you were going to the end with them. And then it got to the point where you would say it so much that people just started to talk. And so then it was just like, well, wait, I thought I was going to the end with Nick. I didn't know that you were also going to the end. And so then that just kind of came to a head.
All right. All right, Chris.
Nick,
Quick one, Chris.
Nick, I'm gonna be completely, totally honest with you. You play like Hot Girl Chris played in 2020, like 5 years ago. So Hot Girl Chris, what he does best is he will go to everybody and be like, "Oh, I love you so much. I love your vibe. Let's work together," and all this stuff. And he will use that information to better himself in this game. Mind you, when I was stuck in my house 2020 and I had to rely based off of like sequester minis and like all the minis in the world and like still like confined to our house, like your gameplay is the type of gameplay that I have played previously. So to answer your question on why you were messy, I know firsthand on how messy.
Sorry, we have pool time, so let me pull up a timer for pool time and you guys can continue.
I just wanted to continue. Like I have played the type of game that you're playing. So imagine my surprise when I'm coming back and hearing all the information in the world. Oh, Nick is not like who I thought he was supposed to be. Like I was rooting for us. Inner circle. I was rooting. But no, that's exactly why. Yeah, I have played your game. So kudos. But very messy.
As messy as Luke's? Jesus Christ, guys.
It wasn't that. It wasn't.
But no, all I wanted to say is I'm not gonna lie to you guys, like I was pretty bitter coming out of my vote out. I have since calmed down. I completely get why Chris and Bruce, why you did that. I completely get why Lauren voted for Jonah in that sense. Everyone just take a deep breath, calm down, shake it off. You've got this, okay? And I know exactly who I'm rooting for, and I know exactly who I'm voting for. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Right, we are going to move on to our very next juror. So please give a round of applause to Sam.
Hey, my people, you're my people. So I'm so happy you're here. I had a lot of questions and then every single person stole them. So I took notes while you guys were talking and I'm just gonna come up with things that I thought of at the top of my head. First off, I wanted to say that I love you all and I'm so happy you're here. Like, it makes me happy to see the three of you because you're all like really important to me in this game and made it so much fun for me. So thank you for that. Lauren, your baby too. Can't wait to meet that little one. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. But you guys each said something about your game that I wrote down. Just the one word. Bruce, you said yours was smoldering. Lauren, you said yours was authentic. And Chris, you said yours was insulated. And I agree with all that. So I'm going to ask questions based on you guys saying those words. So I'll start with you, Bruce, since you went first. Smoldering, I agree. Even though I didn't know coming into tonight, it was the first time I knew that you voted for me. 10 minutes before, I thought that you had planned that all day. But going on to your jury management, I feel like, sometimes paranoia might have got the best of you. And maybe with the people that you weren't close with, yeah, you left them on red. With the people that you were close with, I kind of feel like you went over the top to make them feel comfortable. So that's how I kind of felt in that situation with you voting for me, and the same with Nick. So I just want to know, why did you feel like you had to go out of your way to make people so comfortable when you were going to vote for them?
For one, it's not a strength of mine. Like talking about those specific things, like it's really not a strength of mine. And just so you know, and you can confirm this with Jonah, and just to kind of piggyback on what something that Greg or Chris said earlier, I talked about voting you out the night before with Jonah. So like it was something that was on my mind because of the relationship that you had with Chris. So it just kind of all came to a head right there, right before tribal. And then in terms of my like making people feel over comfortable, some of that has to do with the last couple of orgs that I've played. Like I felt comfortable going into tribal and then gotten cut, and so I knew going into this game I was going to try to be a little bit different. It probably was a little bit over the top. But I just wanted to feel as comfortable as I could every time I was going into a tribal council. And, at the end of the day, like, it's not a strength of mine to build relationships within a 14-day span and then make them feel good and feel great about them going to the jury and me sticking around. I did the best that I could, and I tried to build authentic relationships that when we got to the end of the game, everybody realized it was just a game.
Okay, and I also wrote down for you that you said you have trouble building connections with people in 2 weeks, and I wrote that down, and then you did answer that we had a good connection, so thank you for that. Lauren, I'll move on to you. Authentic. You are the most loyal person I know I've ever met in all the orgs I've ever played, and I love that about you. So I don't want to say if you have any regrets about being loyal, but is there a time that you wish you could go back and be the HBIC, which is the head bitch in charge, and make a different move?
I expected to get this question, so I have thought about it. And my answer is actually no. When I look back on the votes that I was left out of, it makes a lot of sense to me that I was left out of. I think primarily Nick and your votes, that that was not information that I had. And for good reason. Had I had that information, I would have shared it with you both. But I think people knowing that about me too kind of helped me broker some of the information that I was getting from other people and be careful about who I was. Being loyal was not spreading rumors, not lying, but I was still being careful with who I was sharing information that I had. I wasn't just sharing widely with everybody. And I think that helped to build a trust that while I am truly loyal to the people I was playing with, I don't have this global loyalty that I'm just going to share with absolutely everybody in the game. So I don't think that there are any votes that I would have done differently. The ones that I was left out of, for the most part, I was actually very happy to be left out of. And it helped me maintain the game that I was playing.
All right, loyal queen.
Also miss you, Hank. I've missed Hank pictures.
He's been quiet the whole time. All of a sudden, I'm talking. That's why I was laughing before, because his tail was in the camera. I don't know if you saw. And then Chris, insulated. So true. Your social game is incredible, and I know you touch on the fact that you have a lot of prior connections, but as someone who's played with you in the past and started this game with you, we remember from the beginning when we were talking to people who on the tribe, they would always say, I like you and I like Chris. I like you and I like Chris. So
we were so well together. We did it. We did it. We were so good.
Yeah, so you didn't have to know people before this for them to immediately love you. So that's your biggest strength. Is there something that you would say was your weakness in this game?
I will say that I do have some being very well insulated. I do think comes from the fact that I did have very strong social connections in the game. I do think that I prioritized my social connections to perform well strategically, basis off the moves that I have made throughout to better myself throughout the game. However, when it comes to your question, there are sometimes THC does get the best of me. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's THC has gotten the best of me. I remember, I will say, and it's not even so much of it was a panic scenario type thing, but it's more so oh my God, Bestie Sam's out to get me. Oh my God, I just got votes in tribal council. Why are you out to get me? And it was all campy. It was all just for being comedic and having the fun in an org, so to speak. But I can also see that as a downfall type of scenario when you can see oh my God, my final two's coming for me. Why? But I will say there are some moments throughout looking back throughout the game and having not saying THC is a problem, people. I don't think it's a problem at all. But also I did think of it sometimes when having some sort of conversation. Sam can attest, JJ can attest. Hell, I told my fucking advantage to JJ when I was high as a gas, and I shouldn't have. But also I did. But there are some times where I did get I did have the prioritizes of marijuana did cloud me a little but I will say. And strike that from the YouTube record, please. Strike that from the YouTube. It's not legal where I'm at yet, but yes.
Oh no, don't put this on YouTube. So getting high was your weakness. Got it.
It was one of my weaknesses.
Let me just look at my notes. I think I have some time. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna ask a silly question. You're not gonna understand it, but you will later on. I'd like you to say something that either you said in the game or someone else said in the game that's so crazy that we wouldn't believe that this person said it. And after you say that, I'd like you to say, oh no, I can show you the message after. Whoever who wants to go first can go first. Lauren, go first.
I don't think I have a message for this, but we all went last night reflected that when Nick asked us not to vote him out on his birthday, we thought his birthday was like the next day and not like a week away. So that was, I don't know, that not that crazy, but kind of like a funny moment of like, wow, that's like a bold ask.
And you can show me the message after?
I think it was like verbalized in tribal, so it's
All right,
there's video.
just I need you to say I can show you the message after.
I can show you the message after.
Okay, Bruce, your turn.
Mine would be the same thing. I thought Nick's birthday was the next day, and it's a week later, and I can show you the message after.
Okay, Chris.
Nick told me that his name was out there, that he was getting votes from everybody else, and I had to act like so vain and dumb that his name was not going at all whatsoever, and I can show y'all that message after.
Okay, I don't have anything else. I'd love to stay and just chill and talk with you guys, which is my favorite thing to do. Chris, please give the best closing statement ever. We didn't get to hear your full opening statement. I love you guys. I'm done.
Okay, thank you, Sam. Okay, we are moving on to our next juror. And what's her name? Her name is Hannah.
Candy Banani. Hey guys. I have like a couple simple questions and one that's a little more personal. I'm not great at asking people questions, so I'm sorry to the people with the simpler questions. Lauren, I'm going to start with you because yours is like just a bit more personal. I very much like value close relationships in this. My hair looks like a mess. I'm so sorry, guys. I very much value like personal relationships in this game, like whether or not we're working strategically together. And I'm sure Chris and Bruce can tell you this because I felt very close with the both of them. As far as you go, we only ever called twice in this game, both of which were on our swap tribe, both of which at the suggestion of me. And I just kind of want you to like explain why I wasn't really worth your time or effort.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think you would not be the first person or the only person to wonder that, especially pre-merge. I would say I initiated like very few voice calls with people. I was usually willing when people like responded to me. That wasn't a thing that I knew was like going to be part of this game coming in. So it took me a while to catch on. And then I just am also like pretty busy prioritizing sleep, trying not to offend my husband too much. And so I was pretty like judicious with voice calls in particular. I tried to be really responsive to messages, but I think a lot of my voice calls ended up being when we were close to needing to like make game decisions and having to have face-to-face conversations around that. So I think you like talked that well. You are still one of the people like I enjoyed chatting with the most and like just interpersonal, despite that we really didn't talk a lot of game together, just like really enjoyed interpersonally. But yeah, I have to own that. Like I was not great at voice calls.
Okay, thank you. I'll go Bruce next. Hi, Brucey Moosey. How are you? My question for you is what you think your worst play in this game was.
I think my worst play in the game was really a culmination at the beginning of the game and not being not as being like as close to people as I thought that I was. So I wasn't getting the information necessary to help me win the game. So I would say probably my social connections early in the game to be aware of like where idols were and where advantages were and things like that. I would say that that is probably my weakest move in the game.
Okay. And I will say I am very offended that you never changed your profile picture to Bruce the Moose after we talked about it being the banana and the moose. But go off, I guess. Chris, hey baby.
Hi, babe.
Who do you think was the biggest threat to your game, and what did you personally do in order to get that person out?
Emily. Emily's ass. Emily's ass. Oh my God. Oh my God. The calls that I had with JJ throughout the season and trying so hard to get Emily and I to work together. And we really tried. Like, it was like, and no disrespect to Emily, I know she's not here right now. So when she watches this back, she's going to probably look at this and laugh. But like, Emily, not even just like her caliber as like a player, but like just her genuine being in this game was such a strong force as to why I needed her to go to make sure that my ass was still here. And Hannah, I could also say the same for you. Like you two play the exact same way I play. What do you like to think that why do I want both of y'all beautiful selves here playing the same game that I'm playing? I got a piece so bad just to let y'all know. But still, realistically, I mean Emily, Hannah, like more Emily than Hannah, obviously, but Emily was a force. And once the vote happened between for me, like I felt like, I had to hot girl it up. I could have been a little bit petty and like had to do what I had to do. So, and
okay.
I did exactly that.
The second part of my question, which I don't think you really got to, was
Sorry.
What did you personally do in order to get Emily out?
I mean, it wasn't me so more personally than the fact that I did have to rely on my social connections and strategic capabilities to make sure that it was also everybody else's best interest to send Emily out, but also realistically, Emily and Scott just played the advantage. They had their threat level already high after JJ got sent home. So it was more so just secondhand of like, oh, this is my biggest threat in order for me to make sure that I need to make sure that I can still hot girl my way all the way to the very end. But also I did prioritize social capital to make sure Emily could go home.
Okay. I just thought of one last little question for you, Chris. Why do you think you deserve the title of CEO of Hot Girls Over Women?
Okay, the great question, because women are the superior gender. I will die on that hill that women are the superior gender. However, the hot girl nature just started as like an overweight not in the closet, but also like in the closet when it came to orgs. Shirts for hair, out larger than life personality, and now he lost all that weight. He threw the shirts for hair in the trash, and he's still trying to be that sort of like CEO of hot girls everywhere. Okay, realistically, people, the hot girl flair is just a prioritization of everybody exuding inner confidence in themselves and making sure that they are the best person to themselves as they can be. Be yourself. And the hot girl nature is me being myself. Thank you, Megan Thee Stallion, for starting it.
All right. Well, it was truly a pleasure to play with all of you. I genuinely loved talking. Okay, Chris, bye. I know you got to pee, but goddamn. I truly enjoyed playing with all of you and loved getting to know you guys. I'm having a drink for all of you right now. Chris, I'd be having a joint if I had one. Lauren, I'm having 2 drinks for you right now because I know you can't have one. Peace and blessings.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Sorry, she wanted me to do that. Right, okay, we are going to move on to our next juror, which actually I'll just give it 2 secs just so Chris can come back from peeing because he had to relieve his bowels. There he is. Okay, we are going to move on to our
Sorry, had to
next
pee.
juror.
Go ahead.
So please say hi to Luke.
Hey, friends. Coming to you from the island of Islay, which I'm sure you all did in your research, is the island of whiskey. First of all, no bitterness here. I generally love you all, and this game's been a blast, and so awesome to play with you all. I'm just going to cut right to it. I'd like to have a fun question here. I would like you to build your ideal survivor player using 3 real traits from 3 different jurors. So I want you to think of a trait from 3 different jurors to build the perfect survivor player. That could be strategy, social skills, timing, whatever your criteria is. That would be the winning finalist if you took that trait from 3 different jurors. And then once you build that player, I would like you to then add in your biggest flaw, your worst move, your blind spot, whatever you think that you did the worst in this game. And then after you have that robot built, I kind of want you to tell me why that player still deserves to win. Because remember, this game is for $0. And 100% of the bragging rights from none of your real life friends are going to understand. So this is a very important question. So again, I'll repeat it one more time. We're going to go in opening finalist order: Bruce, Lauren, Chris. Again, I want 3 jurors. I want the trait from that juror that makes them a winning finalist. Then I want you to add in your worst moment. And then I would like you to explain to me why that player should win. And for the record, if you say your biggest flaw is that you cared too much or that you loved everybody too much, I will not be voting for you.
Okay, so physical wise, like in terms of challenges, I would pick Emily. Social wise, in terms of building relationships with people, I would pick Sam. And then strategy wise, in terms of how to make things happen, I would pick JJ. And then in terms of my flaw, I would talk about my social talkings with other people as the game progressed. And then what was the last part after I built my robot?
I want to hear why that robot should win this game.
That robot should win this game for a lot of reasons. One, the strategy of them winning didn't just rely on Emily's strength or Sam's social game, because whether they won or not, JJ's mind and strategy kept him apprised to what was happening, and even the ability to make big moves here or there. And even though they've got this major flaw of communicating with people as they leave, when they got in trouble because of that, Emily's strength would fire up, and then they would win a challenge that they needed to win. That's it.
Awesome. Lauren.
Okay, I'm hoping I'm still following this right too. You give us a lot of steps, Luke, for somebody who liked to give 1-word answers at Tribal. I would say, and some of this is gonna sound similar to Bruce. I think Emily is just like skill level overall, literally insane. Played video games one-handed while winning an endurance challenge. Luke, I would say your commitment, like when I found out that I was not the only one getting 2+ minute voicemails and that you had been doing that since merge, I don't know that anybody else was putting that level of effort in. And then I think Sam was read pretty accurately. It was probably many people's number 1. And so socially, I would say had the strongest game. So skill, commitment, social prowess is my robot. Okay.
Now you're going to add in your worst flaw.
My worst flaw. I do think that the one way in which my loyal game presented some weakness was that there was some information that people didn't share with me because they knew I was so loyal to people who that information was about. I don't know that it would ultimately have changed how I acted, but in a game where you want to have all of the information, there was some things that I didn't get at those points in time.
And tell me why that player should win this game.
That player. I think that player would be a really well-rounded player that would have all of the pieces needed to have the skill to save themselves, to be able to get advantages, to use them well, to kind of step in when everything else is up against them. I think that player is really engaged in the game in a way that is recognized by people and helps them in all of those other three ways. And then I think there's no surprise that like socially, that's for me something that I value a lot and I think is a real strength in a social game like Survivor. So I feel like somebody with all three of those traits would be pretty unbeatable.
Alrighty, Chris.
Luke, this is an awesome question. Thank you for it. So also, not to piggyback off of Bruce and Lauren to answer this question, but to unfortunately also piggyback off of Bruce and Lauren. Emily's a beast, y'all. Emily's a beast, y'all. So like to have her capability when it came to challenges and in general. I mean, granted, she won the same amount of immunities that I won. We both won too. Hey, yeah. But to have her challenge prowess as a Survivor player, I'm all for it. Hell, I would love to win more than 2 immunities. I didn't even know that I could have won 2, but I'm very proud of my ass for that. The next one, when it came to social capital, I will also argue in the fact of like, while I do think I did have a very dominant social capital game. Hell, I want Sam's social capital game as well. Homegirl did very well as she should, and as somebody who has known of her before the game previously. Hell, I mean, she made it farther than me this last time that we played a game together. So I'm very glad that I could have made it a little bit farther than her this time, just to be safe. And then lastly was more of the outwit scenario. And no one really has seen the fact that Jonah played a very well under the radar game. This is the type of game that I would have liked to have played. However, with the cards that I was dealt and being very well known in the org community coming into a game like this, couldn't really play off of that aspect. But I would love to have this type of under the radar capability so I can make some sort of high key moves behind the scenes and make sure that it's my move at the end of the day. When it comes to my biggest flop era, I will say that there are times throughout the whole season where I say before I think. Scott can attest to it. Luke can attest to it. There are times where we did not see eye to eye in the game. And I was a little bit hot girl era. I was a little bit mouthy. And I did apologize for it. Bruce can even attest to it. I was mad as fuck when I came out from fucking on Discord after Sam got voted out. I was mad as hell. Y'all can attest to it. But I will say my biggest flop era, I do have the capability to say before I think. And I'll own that. But realistically, what all of that brings into as a well-rounded Survivor player, minus the fact that I wasn't really that much under the radar like Jonah was, but I still made the key moves necessary strategic-wise to better me. I played all of that here in this org.
Well, that question went better than I thought it would. I thought there'd be like a lot of follow-up questions. Good job. I got 2 minutes. Keep that in mind when we go in reverse order here. Why should I not vote for you? Starting with Chris.
You should not vote for me for the simple fact of like the tarot cards rate true. The tarot cards rate true. Why would you want to vote for somebody that had that was 90% impressively socialized or knew or was very privy to information? Oh, you could easily counteract that in the sense of, oh, that's oh, why do I want to vote for that when he was already like well insulated and he did well in the game already? Like that's kind of boring. Like let's just throw a vote on somebody else. But realistically, you should vote for that because I did very well in that aspect. But that's one of the main reasons why you probably shouldn't vote for me. It's kind of boring.
Go ahead, Lauren.
I think you shouldn't vote for me because although there was a lot of protection from both of our sides after the merge, when it was really close to the end there and it really counted, that was not one that I was able to protect you through. So don't give me your vote for that reason.
My turn. Yeah. You should not vote for me because, I was awful at responding to your voice messages that you would send me. You would send me the voice message and I would just send like 2 sentences back. And then the second reason you shouldn't vote for me is because you're a way better teacher than I am. So, I wouldn't vote for bad education.
Sucking up to the final end there. Love it. Hey, I'm going to use my little extra time here because I know it was banked. Hey, I'll wait for Megan to reset that. Yeah.
You have a lot of pool time. Keep going.
Yep. When I first started this game, I asked a lot of people for advice on how to play this game as my first long-term org, and people said, have a lot of fun, take a lot of notes, and make a genuine friend from it. And Lauren, I really feel coming out of this, I have made a genuine friend, and I can't wait to talk after this game. Bruce, you were there for me in one of my lowest moments, both as an educator, and even though that wasn't game, you and I will always remember that as a time where you actually talked me out of a really bad day, and I really appreciate that. And Chris, even though I'm one of many people you knew in this game, apparently everyone but Lauren and Nick, I always felt like you had my back through this game, and really showed me what's wrong with my game, which is I feel so bad when I get so close to people that I have to turn on them, and it hurts a little bit harder when that vote actually happens. And I didn't realize how bad that was until the vote out at 5. But I have long forgiven myself because I have tons of Islay Island speaking for me. So each of 3 of you have meant a lot to me in this game. I'm rooting for you all. And if you steal that line in the final tribal, I hear the line rooting for you from anyone else, you will immediately lose my vote. Okay.
Thanks, Luke. Rooting for you. So we are going to move on to our last juror. So please welcome Jonah.
Hey guys, how are ya? Cool, no answers. All right. So congrats to all of you. Fair warning, I was in the car, so I wasn't listening to like a whole lot of your opening statements. So if you have to repeat an answer, I'm sorry. I couldn't hear it, most of you. So with that being said, congrats to all of you. You all deserve making, this beautiful final 3. All of you are very well deserving of the win. Well, my vote is almost a guaranteed lock. I'm hoping these questions will help a lot of the undecided jurors decide a well-deserved winner. So Lauren, I will start with you. First of all, I'm very proud of you. For your first org, you have done a lot, and I definitely respect your game. So we only voted together for a couple of votes, but you were always honest with me with how you're voting. Even like in the end, you told me you were voting me out. So I do appreciate being honest. But with that being said, since you did play a very honest and loyal game, should the jury reward this, and why or why not?
Yeah, I complain about that a lot when I watch it on the TV show Survivor, and even this season, as I'm not going to say too much because I know not everybody's caught up, but I have sometimes been like, wow, that's so stupid. Like from the outside, like why would that's not good gameplay. And then actually getting to play it out and recognizing the high level of intentionality that I had to do that with, and to be able to be honest, but be careful with some information, and to be, again, like judicious about where I was spending my time and where I was putting the relationships. I think I have learned, like in playing it myself, that there is actually so much more gameplay to be valued in that strategy than I think I ever gave credit for as a viewer. And so that was coming in tonight. What I really hope to do is to be able to put into words like how much that was an actual strategy for me throughout the whole game, and ultimately got me to the final 3 being able to play that way.
Perfect, thank you. Just if I do see you play an org again, I want you to be like more brutal and lethal. I'd love to see that side of Lauren. I know you have it in you, I can tell. I'll move on. I guess I'll go to Chris next. So I'm not happy with you, but it's fine. Maybe I'll get over it one day.
Aware.
I'm still in shock, after all these years knowing each other, that you picked someone you met in this game over me. I know you dove into that a little bit. So my first question is, why'd you go that route instead of, picking your close friends to go to?
Exactly. And to answer that question to you, Jonah, it wasn't just because like I knew who you were and you knew who I was, and we've been really close throughout the whole season. So had that been into an effect, obviously my answer and my vote would have been a little bit different. However, to counteract that, we had to play a game. And realistically, to play a game as a Survivor player, as a Survivor fan, like you are, you know that you have to do what you got to do for your own ass and your own back. And I would hope that you knew that I do honestly feel that I am more deserving over Lauren than I would be over you. And I hope you can respect that, just regardless of how long we've been as friends. I know you said your vote's already locked, and I respect everything that you've done with that, and your vote being already locked if it's not on me. I get it. But from one Survivor fan and game player to another, I would hope that you'd respect what I did in regards to that.
Cool. I guess we'll never know. But my second question is to you. What would you say the hardest moment of the game was? Did you think was hard?
I don't want this. This isn't pandering, but like JJ's vote up was very hard for me. Your vote up was also very hard for me. And realistically, as somebody that came into the game with prior existing connections and had to use said prior existing connections to better himself socially and strategically, I did what I had to do to make sure that it was my ass here. And I did exactly that. And also, your votes were very hard for me. I mean, on a call right after JJ got voted out, I mean, Scott can attest, I was actively sobbing because I didn't want it to happen. And I did feel as though it needed to happen to better me. Now, case in point, after you got voted out, I had already made the top 3. So was I actively sobbing when you got voted out? No. But did our friendship blossom throughout playing this game together? It did. And of course, as somebody like your caliber would expect, somebody that's a really close friend of yours that would want to make sure that you're in the top 3 with me. And when that didn't happen, and then the vote tied, and then unfortunately you had to get sent to the jury after not winning the final challenge. I understand that. I get all of that. But again, only reason why I didn't keep you was because of the fact that it was only based off of game. Nothing to do before that. And I am very sorry that I upset you and used our pre-existing connection to better me. And that's not fair to you. I do apologize. But also, as a game player, I would hope that you would respect it.
Cool. All right. Thank you, Chris. And now we'll move on to Bruce. My absolute ride or die this whole entire game. You essentially ran pretty much the whole game. You and I we were super close, and I'm very proud of you for making it this far. I will warn you, the jury is not happy with you or I. If you get to see the jury chat, you'll see how brutal they are to us. But it's all good. You had to turn on a lot of your allies, and I feel like with the jury, do you think you handled the jury well? Why or why not? And did you have a strategy going into that? So basically explain your jury management.
Yeah. So no, I don't think that I handled the jury super well. To be honest with you, that's a thing that I don't know how to do well, mainly because I haven't done a lot of these. So sometimes when you're in the moment and you're trying to survive and you're trying to make it far and you get so close to the end, you want to make it. In my head, I'm just thinking about what's the next thing that can get done. And, it's a lot easier to have good jury management when you know everybody already. Like, these people just met me before they came to the game. So what do they know me as? They know me as this sports coach that plays some orcs sometimes, that cut them when the time happened. So it's tough to have a relationship where you can repair it really quickly when you didn't know them before. If I knew people coming in and I've known each other for years, it's a lot easier to get over things like that. But for me, that's a tough aspect of my game, and I don't think that I did it well, no.
Great. Thank you for being honest with that. I really appreciate it. All right, and now I have one question for all of you. Does anyone want to go first? This is like the question I ask every single time. Who wants to
I'll
go
go
first? Okay.
I'll go first.
All right. So if you could relate to one animal in this game, what would it be and why? And don't say a snake because it's basic, boring, and we were all snakes at one point in this game.
A mongoose. Because to catch a snake, you got to be a mongoose.
Okay, interesting. That's a different one. I never heard that answer before. Chris and Lauren, do you want to go next?
It doesn't matter to me. Lauren, you want to go?
Sure. I am just gonna own my softy nature. I would be a penguin because they mate for life. That's all.
Okay. All right, Chris.
And I was a lion. I'm not gonna lie. I roared very, very loudly, but also was in my den sometimes too when I needed to be.
Okay. All right. Not bad. Not bad. That's all the questions I have for you guys. Make these closing statements really good because the jury seems still to be hung. So it could be a close vote. Who knows? Good luck to all of you. And I'll be happy with whoever wins.
Okay, thank you so much, Jonah. And thank you to the jury. You have all made your statements. But it's not over for you finalists yet. You still have one final chance to plead your case with your closing statements. So this is your last chance to plead your case to the jury as to why you deserve their votes. So as a reminder, how the opening statements went, you will flip it. So it will go Chris, then Lauren, then Bruce. I do believe, Megan, just confirm how long they have. Is it 5 or 3?
It's 3.
Thank you. So you will each have 3 minutes for your closing statements. And Chris, you will go first.
Yes, so I am a very big talker compared to last round, so I'm going to try to keep it short and keep it sweet. There's something that Bruce mentioned to answer Jonah's question in regards to pre-existing connections and how it benefited me in this game. I very much know that it benefited me when it needed to this game. However, half of y'all are some of my pre-existing connections and half of y'all are on that jury. I couldn't talk to y'all after I voted y'all out, so I didn't know what y'all were thinking in regards to me as a person or regards to me as a game player. I do think that I have played the most well-rounded game here. I do think that I was also unapologetically and authentically myself, minus the shirts for hair, because the shirts for hair is not coming back. However, the Hot Girl Flair was the Hot Girl Flair and needed to do what he had to do to make sure that it was his back, his ass, and his beautiful, partially, face campaigning to you guys in the very end. I do think that from the game start to the game very end, that I always had my foot on the gas pedal, that I did what was needed of me and what was asked of me and only did it very fluid throughout each individual round. And I was going based off of round by round to benefit me. Social connections and strategic capability came into an effect because I had to use my social capital to make sure that my strategic move benefited me. I am thoroughly thankful for this whole experience. And I just want to say, regardless of your vote, regardless of anything that has transpired throughout this game, I have came into this and I signed up to play a game, and I played the game best for me, which I do think is deserving of a win tonight. Thank you guys so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Chris. Right, we are going to move on to our next finalist. Lauren, you have 3 minutes for your closing speech.
Okay, cool. Thanks, guys. This was really fun. If I can get through this in quicker than 3 minutes, I'll say some nice things at the end. But this was such a cool opportunity for me. I've been a huge Survivor TV fan and felt like I would never get to play. And this felt really close for me, because the social aspect is the thing that draws me to it probably the most. But coming in, like, I hadn't played orgs, I didn't know this game, I didn't freaking know how to use Discord. Thank you to everybody who was patient with me in the beginning. And I didn't know anybody else. I had to build every single relationship from that first day that we came together. It was really hard for me in the beginning, like, as I have said, to vote people out. Like, it felt heartbreaking for me to vote out Danny and Coach, who I had known for like 6 days and hadn't even built an alliance with. And I was really scared about how I was going to be able to stay true to myself and play this game in a way that I wanted to and get very far in it. And so the fact that I was able to get my footing and figure out how I needed to play strategically in order to get to the end and still feel really good about being able to play as myself is something that I am very proud of, that I was able to find a way to do that. I think I actually think that even Bruce, who had some backstabs, played with a lot of authenticity. I think Chris did as well, but I don't think either of them could have gotten as far into this game playing the way that I did and playing with the exact strategy that I had. I feel like it's really important that people know that even these under the radar games are played with a lot of decision making and choices. I made a lot of choices along the way about who to trust with what information, who to ride alongside, how much I wanted to kind of step forward versus step back and ride along with alliances. And I want to defend that I wasn't dragged here to the end. And while I played a much more under the radar game than other people, it was because I made choices that helped myself to get here in that way. And to be able to get here at the end, I think, without like pissing anybody off who is there in the jury. And some people will see that as a strength and some people will see it as a weakness. I hope that there are at least a couple people who might see that as actually like a strong and valuable way to play the game. And I'm so sorry to production because I put this in my chats too, but to quote the great Banu, I'm not here to win $1 million. And actually none of us are, because we're not winning anything from this, but I'm here to win 1 million hearts. So vote for me if I won your heart. And also if you think that I played a good game in that way. And I'm going to use my last 23 seconds to say I also like really genuinely loved meeting everybody. This was such a fun, diverse cast. I wish that we were on an island and not like trying to live our regular lives, because I would have loved to actually have more time to connect with everybody amidst all of that. So sorry to the people I didn't have as much time with, but y'all rock.
Okay, thank you so much, Lauren. Right, we are going to move on to our final finalist now. Bruce, you have 3 minutes for your closing statement.
There's an old story about 2 bulls at the top of a hill. There's an old bull and a young bull, and there's 100 cows below. The young bull says, let's sprint down there and mate with a couple of them. And then the old bull says, let's walk down there and mate with them all. And for those of you that might not understand that story, all it means is sometimes slower is better. And for me, slower was better this game. I wasn't as socially involved with everybody when I showed up. I didn't have as many connections going into it. And what I had to do was go in and be my authentic self, like Lauren just talked about. And some of that, the authenticity that a lot of you saw as time went on and me trying to get to the final 3 might not have been the most kind. But I can promise you this, anything that we talked about or was said between you and I, like I take something from each and every one of you, no matter how you vote tonight, okay? And with the game that I was playing and became forced to play as we got down to 10 and 9 because I hadn't done anything or felt like I did anything to make myself a viable candidate at the end, it came with a little bit of like, hey, I've got to cut this person's throat. Hey, I've got to get this person out because they're, somebody that might stand in my way. But in doing that, there's still parts of the game completely that I stayed loyal, and I tried my hardest to be as authentic and loyal to everybody that I could be. And by doing that, it allowed me to, the word social insulation and social capital has come up a whole bunch. There's not one person in the game that had an idea of the vote the way that it was supposed to go every time, other than me and probably Jonah. And with that comes a little bit of power as the time goes on. Even at 7, Chris thought Hannah was leaving. right? Even at 5, Lauren thought Luke was leaving. So there's some of it that I think that I can speak to better than my other 2 finalists, even though they played games that were just as great. But they both said it themselves tonight. Neither one of them wanted me in the final 3. And neither one of them wanted me in the final 3 because they knew that I had played a better game to beat them. And that is my final statement. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bruce. And thank you, Final 3. That is your final tribal council. Done. You have done all you can. You have said everything. Now the power shifts over to the jury. Jury, you will now go into the voting booth one at a time and vote for the player you want to win. I need to remind this every time. The player you want to win. You're out of the game. You can't vote anyone off. The player you want to win. Thank you. So we will get that set up now. Jury, you are at this time, whilst the votes are being cast and whatnot, allowed to come off mute and off. You can come on camera. Please do not reveal, though, anything of what you're thinking in terms of who you're voting for. If you do, we will kick you from the stream, kick you from Triumph, and you will no longer be a part of the family. Thanks.
Shout out Survivor Now podcast.
I was about to say, are we shouting out our favorite Survivor podcast?
Yes, you are.
Can I go pee while we're doing this?
Rob has a podcast.
I'm gonna pee.
And this is why I don't like you, Luke.
First to shout out Survivor podcast other than Survivor Now gets my prod favorite.
I just got my first Survivor Now TikTok across my For You page.
Shout out to my podcast. Ha. The one that I'm in. Ha.
Say, Ollie, why did you think Tommy in like a bottom tier winners list? I just have to ask.
Left you on herd with that one.
You really did.
I'm like, that season was terrible and no one remembers it.
Guys, I've got every single Eurovision song stuck in my goddamn fucking head, and it's annoying.
We're not talking
I'm
about
surprised
Eurovision
people
at this time because it almost ended up bad.
Shout out to the pre-jury. I mean, if you're watching this far, you all are amazing, especially Jennifer.
Not us all coming on camera to stare at each other.
I was about to say,
I like staring.
We were talking a little bit and then it got really quiet. I'm like, did I do something? Wait.
I like staring. Staring's fun.
Oh.
Well, the last time we were all together, it was you versus me, Eric. Not a fun time.
Yeah. La, la, la.
Scott, hi.
Are we allowed to talk?
No, why are you talking?
Oh, okay.
They're fucking with you.
I'm just kidding.
Yes, you can talk, Scott. How are you?
It's the fact that like you're really the one that would believe that too.
Sky, you could talk.
You know what, Hannah? If you weren't my love, I would hate you, but I love you, so.
Oh.
Wait, are we allowed to be on camera now?
Yeah.
I guess so, even though Hannah would probably tell me no.
I'm going to look at a motorcycle.
Okay.
So what is this? Are we like waiting to vote or?
Yeah, we're gonna be sending people into the voting booth as
Okay.
usual. Blah 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 blah. We're just getting things set up. Blah 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 blah.
I
You
have to go
know,
back to work in
Set
like
up, can
3
Sam go
minutes.
first? Blah, 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 blah. So she can go back to fangirling and talking to the boy about the motorcycle. Blah, 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 blah.
yeah, exactly. Blah 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 blah.
Oh,
blah blah
He's not here. We had a date and it went well, and there was a second one, and it was long distance and it was cute. We did movie night over Zoom. So that's my new update for you all. God, I hope this
Movie
is
night was great.
Huh?
Movie night was great.
I just want to say, even though I was not present, I hope everyone enjoyed my speech. I love you all. That is all I will say.
Hi, Scott.
Hi. I don't know who
Hi,
said
you
that,
said
but hi.
more.
Oh, was this the Nam? Oh, hi.
This is Carrie.
Hello. Oh, I have to leave in like 2 minutes, but
I can wait and go after you, Scott, if you want to be first when they go.
yeah, honestly, yeah, no, that'll work. But if for some reason I have to go, then I'll just use my pre-vote.
Okay. Also, I have all the sauce options.
Hell yeah. Go for
Hey,
it.
Jay, don't make that face. Don't look at me in that tone of voice. I love it.
You need his ranch.
God, exit.
I
Really
slept with
subject.
ranch. But y'all know this.
What's going on over here?
So I just want to do a shameless plug, you guys. A certain someone, may or may not be me, is having a birthday tomorrow, so that's fun.
And you got
We all-
voted out already? Oh
we
my
all
God.
love talking about our birthday. Wait, what happened? Who said that? What the fuck?
I said you got voted up for your birthday. That's so sad.
I know.
So-
Who gets voted
That
out
was
before
her
their
birthday, too.
birthday? Who gets voted out before their birthday? I guess we all do. A bunch of bitches do.
3 of us, maybe.
Or sent to exile. Or sent to exile.
Oh my gosh, that's right. All right, guys, I have to go. I have to go back to work. Goodbye. Congratulations to you all.
Maybe I'll be messy. Sam threw out just a second ago that, why do you mean Scott got voted out before his birthday?
Y'all were deciding between 2 people whose birthdays was happening the next week, by the way. So that was crazy, Nick.
Woo!
I'm
Justice
joking.
for Tauruses, I guess.
Yeah, justice for Tauruses.
You actually just got me out so that it wasn't between 3.
Y'all just killed all the May babies in the early Jerry phase. That was rude.
Jordan, how do you feel about the May babies and the Geminis being voted out? That silence is loud.
Did you say Jordan? Oh, I mean, I'm an August baby, so I really don't. I'm just kidding.
So, for real, when are we doing the Scottish Isles cruise? I was looking at a lot of different options today. It looks like there's a lot of private boats that'll only take up to 8, but we can also do hotels and do our own tour.
So what you're saying is the top 8 go, right?
Sorry,
I'm kidding.
I
I'm
had to
kidding.
bounce when you spilled the tea about me, Luke. And that's why I never
Like a-
really trusted you.
Yeah, whatever. I just love how you haunt me every day. Like, every time I see a goose, I'm like, I die. I literally died today.
So I reminded you of geese now? Okay.
Absolutely.
Nice. Nice.
Like, what I do? I left the high school today, and there was a soul goose just honking at me, and I'm like, oh my god, Sam, I get it. I get.
Jonah, my game is similar to that of a goose.
A goose. Yeah. I'm confused where that even came from, to be honest.
I'm gonna need an
You wouldn't
explanation for
know.
that.
I got attacked by
we
a
would
goose
talk
while I
about
was
geese
leaving a
every
voicemail for
day.
Sam, and it's been our thing ever since.
Hey, but they're very social, right, Luke?
Oh my god, they literally came at me like I was going for some eggs or something. And so I'm like, hi Sam, hope your day. Holy fuck, shit, honk, honk, honk back at you. Like I'm just like screaming at this goose. I'm like, oh, I'm still on with Sam. Okay, well have a good day.
Does anyone else want to answer the animal question? I'm curious.
Poison dart frog.
Yes,
Nick.
yes, yes, yes.
Yes, Nick.
I believe I would be a dolphin
Why?
because they're lovable and dumb.
Hey guys, I'm gonna drop for a minute. Will somebody, and by somebody I mean every single one of you, at me in every place you can so I can be here when it's announced? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yes,
I
today I'm looking
appreciate
at our multiple alliance chats that we
I'll be
have.
back.
Awkward.
I would say my animal for this game would have been probably I don't know, probably an owl, because you could never find me throughout the. No, I'm kidding.
Luke, what about you? I'm curious.
You said Luke?
Yes, like what
I said
animal would you?
poison dart frog.
What?
Poison dart frog.
Okay, that's like really
Yeah.
random.
I'm beautiful and I spit poison in people's mouths. Like, how is that not like a thing?
How about you, JJ?
We don't know because I obviously was not playing the game that I thought that I was playing. I was trying to build bridges. I was trying to be a beaver. I was trying to organize people. I was trying to be like, Chris, you need to connect with Emily, and Emily, you need to connect with Bruce, and everybody needs to come together. And then it just
JJ,
like
in
blew
your
up in my
intro
face.
video, you literally said you're an animal lover. So name an animal that fits you.
I was trying to play a beaver game, but it obviously failed.
I think I was a frog because I like frogs. And I can't really think too in depth about this answer right now. But I want it to be known that I said frog before Luke ever said frog.
Well, since we're playing previous connections, go check my previous orgs. That's the only answer I always get. Also, fun fact about frogs. This is my science teacher. Male and female frogs cannot tell each other apart as male or female frogs. So a lot of times males will jump on other male frogs thinking they're trying to mate with a female. And so frogs actually have a very specific dude, back the fuck off call. Yeah, that's your science fact from Luke today.
Thank you for that. I saw your mouth moving, JJ, but I didn't hear you.
Just like his jury question.
I'm hearing Raphael play D&D without me right now. And I told him he could, but now my heart is breaking into tiny little pieces. He's like, I know you're busy. Can I play D&D though? And I was like, yeah, who's D&D? Sure. And now I'm like, oh, save that campaign for me.
Guys, how bad is it going to be when we read the Ponderosa chats?
It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. Trust me, it's gonna be fine.
It's not that
They're
bad.
very honest.
Yep, very honest.
There's no holding back.
Are we talking about the
Jonah was very unhonest. He didn't really talk on it.
No, I was actually busy the past couple of days, so.
I was actually busy. Okay.
I was.
Talk to me.
I'm always busy.
I started my new job this week, and I still probably managed to be the most talkative person in the jury chat.
I started my new job like this coming week, past week as well. I think I started at the exact same day as you though, Sam.
Yes,
So,
just in the future.
exactly. Just in the future.
I'll just say about the jury chat, just remember we all love you very, very much. You're wonderful people. And
Don't read it. It
Who
hurt my
said that?
feelings.
Whose
I cried
voice
for
was
2
that?
days.
oh, that was me. Sorry.
I
Oh,
cried
Eric,
for 2
I don't know
days
why
when I
it was
read the
your-
jury chat.
Yeah, I love you all.
Are we not going to mention bingo? Who won bingo?
I wasn't
Sam
even
not
playing. I
won
just wanted
bingo,
to ask that
though.
question.
Sam won bingo on her jury question.
Sam was disqualified.
That's fine.
I love how Lauren, Bruce, and Chris don't know what the fuck we're talking about. We're saying bingo.
But yeah, Nick and I got up early and we're like, we're putting bingo cards together.
I would assume there's a square that says, I have a message that I can show you.
Yes.
Yes.
You would be right.
I still think the said my move 3 times within their answer was a fun square.
I want to see this. Right? Does it exist in the jury chat?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll send it to you,
Chris
Lauren, after this
saying-
game. You can see it
Chris
after the
saying
game.
12:30, 1 o'clock, 3 times.
No, it was
Hot girl being
specific
mentioned
time.
like 20,000 times. We got that.
I was gonna vote for Bruce, but I was gonna vote for Chris, but Hot Girl Chris being mentioned was hilarious. That was the first bingo.
I laughed.
Actually, the
I
first
did.
bingo
I
was
just-
Bruce in his formal wear.
Oh yeah, true.
So, yeah, Bruce got the first square, but when Chris said Hot Girl Chris, all of us like bingo, bingo, bingo,
Oh,
bingo.
yeah.
3 bingos, yeah.
We had to reset our card.
I was just screaming bingo whenever a card got filled, so I guess I have to go read the rules, which I can't read, as you all know. So
Also, Sam, I think it was you that was drinking wine in a wine glass earlier. I'm so jealous that I don't have wine glasses right now. I'm so mad. I have to do fucking solo cups right now. I'm so pissed.
I have a few. So JJ's planning the New York meetup in October, and we could all drink out of wine glass.
So can we do that like? And being sarcastic, I'm being sarcastic. Like week 2 or week 3, because I'll be on fall break, so I can go.
I mean, I don't know what's going on in my life in October, so sure.
I'll just be here in Australia.
I'm
Why
coming,
can't you
man.
come?
I'm coming to Australia as soon as I can get that rich job to pay
Get
for
your
that.
ass over here.
Come on, Nick. We know your birthday is in May, so you can totally sneak it.
Like you
Wait,
don't
what
have a
about-
birthday excuse.
We did not have birthday excuse on the bingo cards. Maybe next time. Like,
It came up so a few times.
and Jennifer was on the bingo card and never came up, which kind of surprised me.
Wait, really? When?
Like it never came up. The name Jennifer never came out of Bruce or Lauren's mouth.
I feel like it did. Like
I
once
feel like it did,
Yeah, I
like
feel like
right
Bruce
at the
might have
very
talked about
beginning.
He said it, but he never said Jennifer.
Votes coming very soon. Just FYI.
Okay, Ollie.
Here we go.
Y'all can keep talking.
We definitely got the someone is cut off by the 10-minute alarm. We definitely got that square.
And it was every time Chris was answering a question.
Someone says that a member of the jury was their number 1. Ooh, yeah. Oh, someone says at the end of the day. That was a good one. Lauren mentions her first org.
Oh.
Pre-existing connections.
Bruce making a sports analogy. We definitely got that.
Yep. Bruce insists he controlled a vote. Someone says best for my game.
The good thing we all voted.
So just before we get to the votes, we are going to be letting a group of people in.
Jennifer,
So
I want Jennifer in this game so much. I want Jennifer to be here.
as I was saying, we are just going to remind the pre-jury once they do come in to please stay on mute, as right now
This includes
the
you,
votes
Jerry.
are going to be happening. We're still at Final Tribal Council, but the pre-jury will be coming in shortly.
So yeah, it's just because we're gonna read the votes soon. Everyone, please get on mute. Just so you know, there's no talking, no dogs barking, all that fun stuff. Shit happens. Love you.
Gonna get here.
So just a reminder to everyone coming in, please stay on mute. Thank you all so much.
Yep. Just remember to stay on mute as we read the votes, all that fun stuff. We are happy that the pre-jury is here with us today. Blah, 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 blah. Whenever you're ready, Ollie.
I am good to go. Okay, I have the votes. If anybody has an idol, it will mean nothing at this moment, but I just thought I'd make the joke. Right, remember, for the first time this season, you want to see your name on these votes. So let's get to it. First vote, Bruce. That's 1 vote for Bruce. Next vote, Chris. We have 1 vote Bruce, 1 vote Chris. Next vote, Lauren. So that is 1 vote Bruce, 1 vote Chris, 1 vote Lauren, 7 votes left. Next vote, Bruce. 5th vote, Chris. 6th vote, Lauren. That is 2 votes Bruce, 2 votes Chris, 2 votes Lauren, 4 votes left. Next vote, Chris. That's 3 votes Chris. Next vote, Lauren. That's 3 votes Chris, 3 votes Lauren, 2 votes Bruce, 2 votes left. Our 9th vote, Chris. That's 4 votes Chris. 10th and final vote, Lauren. For the second time in Triumph history, we have a tie at Final Tribal Council. Lauren received 4 votes, Chris received 4 votes. Bruce, unfortunately, with 2 votes, you have not been able to triumph. You are 3rd place. Well done. But you do now have a decision to make. You will head to the voting booth and you will cast the tiebreaker vote. So you will vote for either Chris or Lauren to win this game. We will give you a couple of seconds just to get that set up, and you will be sent there momentarily.
Jennifer!
Hi, Patrice!
I just want to say, this is the way this season has to end. I mean, come on.
I'm so excited to see Patrice and Cake, who I never met before. Patrice, you're a legend, even though we were never on the tribe together.
I guess Bruce does control the vote.
Someone could have got bingo again right now.
I got blackout.
Yeah, like Sam filled her whole card and posted it in the group chat.
Thanks for the assist.
I'm here for you, second Jennifer.
we will be getting on cam for this just to give claps for the winner, which is either Chris or Lauren. All that fun stuff. So you get to see my beautiful faces and my ugly ass room.
Oh my god, not y'all getting to see my bruised lip because I got my lip filler dissolved today. Look at that shit. Look at that. Nobody punched me, I swear. I swear.
It's not what I pictured Megan to look like.
Have you never seen me?
No.
Well, post season, I'm gonna need you to tell me what you thought I looked like. Because I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult.
Compliment. I just assumed you look kind of like your profile picture, and I was like, I know that's not you, but that's what I see with you.
All right, we have a winner. Ollie?
Yes. And I will say Megan is always gorgeous. Wait, where is she? She's this side. Right. I have the final vote right here in my hand. So Bruce has cast his vote. Chris, Lauren, good luck. I can now reveal that the winner of Triumph Scottish Isles is... Congratulations. Lauren, you have triumphed and you are the winner. Well done. Chris, commiserations on second. However, second is no easy feat. Well done as well. Like I said, Bruce, well done on third. All three of you played amazing games. But Lauren, you have won. Just quickly, have you got any reactions, anything to say?
I just really wish Emily was here so that I could show her that the tarot card was wrong.
I also want to say congratulations to Lauren, our first female winner since Keisha.
Oh, wow. Thank you, guys.
And Courtney.
Also, my baby thanks you.
And we have a Triumph winner baby. That baby will
Baby
be
winner.
tomorrow.
Yeah, am I the first pregnant winner?
You're the first pregnant player,
You are.
period, I
Yeah.
think. on Triumph.
Yeah.
I will assure you, I was not pregnant when I won. So
If
for
I'm
sure,
ever
for sure.
pregnant and I try to play your org, please tell me no.
It's a good distraction.
I can neither confirm nor deny whether I was pregnant when I won. I can neither confirm or deny.
You were pregnant with Lemon.
It's true.
But right, congratulations, Lauren. You are the winner. We are just going to pause the stream just for a second, just to get everything set up for reunion and awards. So stay tuned for that. I will let Megan and Brandon do what they need to do.
Yeah.